Hey everyone, this is Josh Hayward and welcome to episode 88 of the Find Your Craft Show. I've got a very special lineup for you for the next couple of weeks. I was actually in a beverage store the other day and stumbled across this amazing new experimental hop pack from Sierra Nevada. Now I have to confess, I was kind of down on myself as the craft beer enthusiast because I had no idea Sierra Nevada was doing this, but at the same time, I was really excited to find it, knew nothing about it, saw that there were 4 new brews that I'd never had, and then did some reading up on it, and was just really excited at what these brews are. So the concept behind these brews, Sierra Nevada, as is their style, innovative, always kind of pushing the mark, so to speak. They wanted to create some brews that had some experimental type hops in them. So they went out to the Pacific Northwest, chose different varieties of hops. These hops are so new that they don't even have names yet. They just have numbers, basically. So they've thrown these new experimental hops into these brews, and they've come up with some pretty interesting and great hoppy beers. So I'm going to get into these, probably do a couple of these a week, just because they're kind of all together. We've got 4 brews here for you: Experimental Hop IPA, the Double IPA, the Session IPA, and then the Hop Pilsner. So a good variety for you hop heads out there. And even for some of you who might not take a liking to so much hoppiness, that Pilsner and the Session are both very, very inviting. Good kind of entry hoppy beers, I should say. But we're going to start it off tonight with the original, the Experimental Hop IPA. This is from Sierra Nevada. I'm looking for an ABV on here, but I don't see anything. And sorry to let you guys down like that. But yeah, this is it. Pretty can there, very basic. Just kind of using the Sierra Nevada greens and yellows. I love it. I love the concept behind this. Just like, hey, we're gonna do something new. Let's see what we've got. So some experimental hops in this thing. We will see what it's like. I have had these beers, and I will admit the hop flavors in this, they're unique. I will say that. But here we go. We got a beautiful golden beer here, just straight gold. I would even say kind of even going more towards the straw type color in a way, but a nice golden color there, a little more deeper golden towards the middle of the glass, a nice white head that is just remaining there on top of this beer. You can see the bubbles of CO2 kind of rising to the top there. As I poured this beer, I can smell some of the amazing hop aromas, which is nice, kind of inviting the taster, the enjoyer into this beer. And as I moved it there too, I could kind of get the aromas of that. So let's see what we've got on the nose. Oh wow! I'm getting lots and lots of fresh hoppy flavors, hoppy aromas in here. I'm getting, and I guess part of this is my knowledge of, hey, these are experimental hops, they're not named yet, and the fact that I know Sierra Nevada's kind of doing something new with these. But I'll admit they're not hoppy aromas that you're usually used to, I should say. I'm not getting a ton of citrus or a ton of pine or tropical fruit or anything like that, or grassiness. Not getting any of that really. It's kind of a combination of some of those aromas. I feel like there's some light citrus in there, not take your breath away citrus, but there's some light citrus in there. I also feel like there's even an herbal type characteristic to this beer, to the hops in this beer. Even maybe a spicy type variety. I'm kind of reminded at first whiff of the nose. I'm kind of reminded of some of the spices you may use in a spice rack. I think maybe like thyme. I'm not saying it smells like thyme, but that's kind of what I think of when I smell some of the herbal and spicy type aromas in these hops. Not a ton of maltiness on it, just kind of maltiness kind of sitting on the back end here, but the hops are definitely on display, and it smells wonderful. Different hop smells, different hop aromas, but still very, very inviting. So let's see what we've got. Cheers. Wow. This is excellent. It's It's a very, very good beer. It's excellent, but it's also challenging too. When you taste beer, you kind of get into a groove of flavors and aromas. You kind of know what to pick out when, and you kind of, your palate kind of develops, and you're able to discern certain types of notes and things that remind you of certain foods and flavors and whatnot. This is just altogether different, and I love it. It's phenomenal. Let me attempt to describe the amazingness of this beer. So very, very light. The malt in this brew provides a very, very nice backbone. It's there. It's solid. It's not overpowering though. It's not as light as a session or as light as some of the New England style IPAs or East Coast IPAs. I mean, it is not an East Coast IPA. My apologies. But the malt is there, and it anchors the beer very, very well. Even post-taste, post-sip, I'm still getting some of that malty flavor in there. Think like a baked bread, lightly baked bread, a white bread in a way. It's there. Maybe even just a little bit of caramel sweetness in there. Not much though. Not much. The main part of this brew, the things that are on display, are the hops. I'm getting some fruity flavors in there. Just then, I felt like I got a little hint of the mango, maybe a little bit of a melon in a way, and then more of an herbal type characteristic on the back end. Thinking kind of the spices that you would use in your spice rack, more of a grassy type nature, and then even some pininess in there too. Again, these are different kind of hops, and I'm trying my best to explain it, being that it is so different. But it's very, very good, very good. It's not any one particular thing. It's not like, hey, I'm getting some citrus notes from these hops in here, or this is kind of tropical, or this is very, very piney. It's kind of a nice variety in there, and I know I keep doing this with my hand. I'm trying to get it all out there. But I feel like the malt just goes really well with the beer. I feel like these experimental hops, these new hops, are providing a nice freshness in this beer. Again, I keep going back to the spice rack. I'm thinking of like your green spices that you may use, like fresh herbs used when you cook and things like that. Yeah, it's very, very good. I don't know what more I could say with this aside from you've got to try it. If you come across these beers anywhere, even if you can find one or two of them, give it a try, just because it is so different from what we see on the market now. I mean, it is the hop characteristics and hop aromas and flavors in this are just very different and very good. This beer is not overly dry. Going back to the beer again. Not overly dry, but the dryness is there. Invites you to take another sip and then another. It's a rather easy drinking beer for an IPA too. Not too heavy. The hoppiness is nice. Just a good solid IPA with a different type of hop characteristic. So cheers to Sierra Nevada on this one. This is excellent. This was the first one I tried from the pack several weeks ago when I stumbled across the pack, and kind of wanted to give it some time before I came back to it. That way the review's fresh. So again, if you see these around anywhere, please check them out. These are different, and they're very, very tasty. I'm looking forward to actually, I hope some of these hops make it into the marketplace and are used more often, because I feel like the brewers can do a lot of things with their beers with this. So cheers to Sierra Nevada. Cheers to the Experimental Hop Pack and episode 88 of the Find Your Craft Show. You guys have a great night. Cheers.